Last night I made a video recapping the first round of the NBA playoffs, talking a little bit about the second round, and then I made a video talking about the Yankees versus the Rays series. Both those videos are up if you want to check them out. Then I went to bed. I was like, alright, so got those two videos done. Don't really have to worry about anything else big happening while I'm asleep. All of a sudden I wake up, boom, Steve Nash to the Brooklyn Nets. So the Nets have selected their head coach. After last night, I said, you know what? We don't really know who the Nets coach is going to be necessarily. We heard little Greg Popovich rumors, but other than that, nothing too crazy. No favorites so far. But then we know who the Nets really wanted, and that is Steve Nash. And I definitely am surprised by this. Steve Nash was not the guy I or anybody had in mind. You didn't really expect to get a rookie head coach. I always lean toward the Nets going the Ty Lue route because of the relationship with Kyrie Irving and just having a lot of coaching experience, whether it is head coach of the Cavaliers or being the assistant coach under the great Doc Rivers. I just felt that that was the direction that Brooklyn was going to go. But instead of pampering more towards Kyrie, the more and more you read about this signing, it really looks like they are going for Durant, because Nash and Kevin Durant have a really good relationship because of Nash's work as an assistant, player development kind of guy with the Golden State Warriors, which obviously Kevin Durant was a part of, and they worked together a lot. Steve Nash and Durant spent a lot of time together, so you want someone that Durant respects and likes because, as we know, we live in a society of sports now where it is very important for the players and the coach to get along very well, and that is exactly what you have with Nash and Durant. Now, how that's going to translate to the basketball court, that's a completely different thing. Now, one thing we could look at about Steve Nash is what he was as a player, and that was a guy who was very pass first. He was pass first, pass second, pass third kind of point guard. One of the all-time great assist players in all of basketball. So you do like that element. You know that Nash is definitely going to preach, ball movement. You like that he was with the Warriors, who had somebody like Steve Coach who preaches ball movement and player movement. But what it comes down to is, will Kyrie and will Kevin Durant listen to him? I think that's going to be really important. And still, I just don't think it's going to work. No matter who the coach is, I find myself really just thinking that Kyrie and Kevin Durant are going to do a lot of isolation basketball, a lot of contested mid-range jump shots, no matter who the coach is. That is just their play style, and the thing is that the reason why Kyrie was able to win a championship was because of LeBron. LeBron does a great job of creating good shots for his teammates, and LeBron gets good shots for himself. LeBron doesn't take a bunch of crazy contested shots that Kevin Durant would take. And for Kevin Durant, the reason why he won a championship is because he had guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and, Draymond Green, this insane team with Steve Kerr coaching it that, they have this insane system and they hit such ridiculous shots that the Golden State Warriors win a lot of games. So by default, Durant was going to win a championship. So I still just don't think that this pairing really works too well. It remains to be seen because we have not seen them play a game together yet. And with the rookie head coach, I kind of get some Jason Kidd kind of vibes, former point guard, coming to the Nets to be the new coach, and it didn't work out. But who knows? Maybe it will work out because, again, the most important thing is keeping the stars happy. So you have to hope that Irving and Durant listen to him. I really wonder if Steve Nash is going to try to implement more of a Kerr system or more of a Mike D'Antoni system, which is where he thrived, where he won the back-to-back MVPs. Because as we've seen, the Mike D'Antoni system works. You can tell that it gives you a lot of points, a lot of possessions, but you need the right guy to run it. And will Kyrie Irving be willing to run that kind of a system? Because that system, it's a player that is going to score a lot, but is also going to pass a lot. And Kyrie does pass the ball every now and then, but again, it's just down the stretch, Kyrie does not pass as much. And down the stretch last year, Kyrie took a lot of contested mid-range jump shots. If you go back and watch it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you did watch it, you saw it. So I still do have those concerns because it's hard to break habits. If these are the kind of players that Kyrie and Durant are, this is what they're going to do. So I think this was a very fascinating move by the Nets. It's not what we expected. And I think that other than Nash, really being a really close person for Kevin Durant, I think he had to have pressed Sean Marks in the interviews, because the report is that Sean Marks didn't really want people to know that the Nets had interest in Nash, because then maybe other teams would have took interest, because you have other coaching vacancies. I talked about it last night, but Indiana Pacers losing Nate McMillan, Philadelphia 76ers losing Brett Brown. You wonder if that could have been a potential fit. So I do understand why they didn't really want us to know, but it's very interesting that they really were like, this is the guy. And also that Jack Vaughn does stay with the Nets, but as an assistant coach, and gets compensated very nicely for being a high-paid assistant coach. So I think the Nets did a very nice thing to Jack Vaughn there, because here's a guy who fills in for Kenny Atkinson, did the best he could. The Nets were still competitive, still in the playoffs, and like I said last night, they were still in a lot of those games. And for him to remain on board as an assistant coach, I think that gives you a really good feel for how the Nets view Jack Vaughn. So I think that was nice by them, because you'll see a lot of coaches who they take over, they do the best they can, they get fired, and they may have a tough time getting another job. So I do think that that was a good thing that Brooklyn did there. And we'll just see how it goes. I mean, we'll never know until they actually play. But I think that, again, it just makes a ton of sense for the relationship standpoint of having someone that the players respect, someone that they trust. But I'm just curious to see what kind of system would Steve Nash implement, or would he have these guys kind of doing their own things, which is what I expected. So I think it is going to be interesting to see. And the other thing for the Nets before we finish is they have to figure out what they want to do with the rest of the roster. I think they have to figure out what they want to do with Spencer Dinwiddie and what they want to do with Karis LeVert. Both those guys are really good young players, really good at attacking the basket. I don't think they fit with Kyrie or Kevin Durant. The way they're going to fit with them is they have to be great off-ball perimeter shooters and great perimeter defenders. And they are just not great off-ball shooters, especially Spencer Dinwiddie, because the thing is that, like, if Kyrie has the ball and if Durant has the ball, someone is going to help off Dinwiddie's man and try to trap Kyrie or trap Kevin Durant and force them to make a decision. And when they pass it to Spencer Dinwiddie, you don't love his chances behind the three-point line, because it's going to be in their hands. It will not be in Dinwiddie's hands. So they might have to look at trading a few of these nice young players for a more accomplished shooter, maybe somebody, like a Danny Green, or a guy I really love, Robert Covington, or the PJ Tucker. Those guys are hard to get, but those are the guys you would like to target. Those are the guys that really take the Rockets to the next level. And I'll just be curious to see how aggressive Sean Marks would be in trying to get some players like that. I think that's going to be very, very fascinating to see what the roster looks like for Steve Nash to coach. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. Comment, what do you think about the Steve Nash hiring? How do you think that's going to work out? Was there another candidate that you would have rather seen instead? Subscribe to keep up with everything going on the channel. Have a Mets versus Orioles and Yankees video coming up after the Met game tonight. So definitely a lot of stuff. Like I said, posted 2 more videos last night. Until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and have a good one, everyone.